All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier iHypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. So, yesterday we were talking about a very important topic, and that was everything to do with collaborations. So, especially as a healer and a coach on your journey, this whole idea of building on collaboration and building and growing with collaborations is an important part of the journey. Now, obviously, when we're talking about collaborations, there's something that's even more important in making sure that your collaborations are successful. And of course, I'm talking about relationships. So, by this, obviously, what I'm talking about is that when you are building on your collaborations, what are some of the things that you keep in mind on a day to day basis? What are some of the things that you keep in mind as you're building on your collaborations? One thing that I have found is, of course, I allow for the collaborations to happen. Um, I typically will not force a collaboration. That is something that I have found that has stood me in good stead over now the last 2 decades. And some of the most meaningful, most amazing collaborations that have happened are simply because the focus and my focus was on relationships first. So, my question to you, of course, is as a healer and a coach, what are your focal points? What do you focus on when you're looking to build collaborations? Because, of course, it can be very tempting to literally try and build collaborations with as many people. Um, you know, if you go by the 80-20 rule, for every, let's say for every 10 collaborations, possibly you can expect two to be pretty solid, and the remaining eight will be, fill in the blank. It all just depends on who you've met and where you are on your journey. So that would be my way of looking at this, which is when you are building on your collaborations, what are some of the questions that you can ask yourself? What I can, of course, share with you is my experience and my perspective, because that's my lived experience that I can talk about, rather than focusing on giving you some gyan or something that I may have read in a book written by somebody else. So I put it down to three things to keep in mind when you are focusing on relationships that will help you, especially when you're building your collaborations as a healer and a coach. So let's dive into the three of them. The most important, of course, is values. The question to ask yourself is, what are your values? What do you value the most? For instance, I value fun as definitely one of my top three. So if I'm looking to build on collaborations and the experience, meaning the relationship that I share with the person, if it is going to be pained, if it's going to be a very, it's like bombs are going off every moment, that's definitely not a relationship that will be strong, and nor will it be a collaboration that will last. So instead, I look for a relationship where things are light, things are happy, and in many ways we are in alignment. If that happens, that's one box that has been ticked. Of course, that's just one of the values. Um, Definitely, sincerity, um, sticking to your word. Like these are some of the values that I definitely put at the top of my list. So my question to you, of course, is that in your um, desire to build on collaborations, what are your top two, maybe top three values that you have? And then when you know that, you can, of course, focus on, and through observation, through conversations, you will get a sense of what does the person that you want to collaborate with, what do they value the most. Obviously, if your values and their values match, you will have a relationship that you will build first, and with time you will obviously be able to create a really, really powerful collaboration. Now the second thing, of course, is I put it down as being versus becoming. Now this is very important, because remember, as much as the person that you are wanting to work with um, is going through changes in their life, and especially as healers and coaches, we are already, changing pretty quickly. We're already, it's like saying the person that you were 1 year ago versus the person that you are, and similarly the person that they were 1 year ago and the person who they are today. So, two things to always check in on is to know that who you're being and who you're becoming is something that will change with time, as will it change in their life. So, be very, very aware of that. And if somebody changes in their behavior, one is to ask yourself, who are they being and who are they becoming? And likewise, if you no longer are, in sync with the relationship and therefore the partnership or the collaboration, it's just something to check in with yourself, like who are you being and who are you becoming? And lastly, of course, before I go to that, a reminder: the first thing to check on is values. The second, of course, is being versus becoming. And the final and the third piece to think of for the moment is, and this is a really powerful one, which is allowing. Remember, how you show up and how you practice this, which is everything to do with allowing, which is everything to do with being present, and how much of stillness are you practicing. This will make a huge difference in not only who you are that's showing up in the relationship, but also how you're able to make that space to notice what's happening outside of you. Because I've seen this in my own life. The more I find myself being present and allowing, the more miracles show up in my life. And it's like if something leaves, something quite often, that space that has been made, it will be filled in with something even as much or more powerful than what was. So something to think about. As I said, the three things that I look at, and then many were of them. The top three would be values. The second is being versus becoming, and the third, of course, is allowing. So, as always, these pods are made for you. These pods are made keeping you in mind, especially as a healer and a coach. So I really do look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's pod. And as always, if this is something that connected with you, and maybe there's one person that you can think of who would benefit from listening to this, please do share it with them. And having said all of that, of course, as always, remember to live your purpose. God bless. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.